Thank you. I'd like to get us all started off by calling up Ionuț, the sponsor of Kassiani and Pompiliu, just to give us a few words on this day in the newlywed couple.
I just want to welcome everyone and say that we're gathered here tonight to honor the union between Pompiliu and Kassiani, which was something truly magical and unique to witness. I first met Pompiliu helping his father at church when he was only like 3 or 4 years old. And he was holding a censer, the kadelnica, at the altar. I remember that he was so little that he had to hold the censer up high because the censer was taller than him. As a matter of fact, Pompiliu's first words when he first got off the plane were to his father were, "Dad, can I help your church? Can I be your altar boy? You see, all my cousins are helping uncle at church back home." Little I knew this kid was going to become not only the leader of the Romanian Orthodox Youth of Americas, but also one of my best bike buddies. I remember this time when me and Pompiliu went out biking on a biking trail up in El Dorado Hills. So this was quite a challenging trail, and I was actually quite impressed by Pompiliu's riding skills. He was not only able to keep up with me, but also managed to pull up a few tricks. And he was riding this ruggedy, squeaky old bike. So after quite a technical section, he pulls up next to me with a big grin on his face, saying something along the lines like, "I just got some air. That's pretty fun." At that moment, all I can think of was, I hope Doamna Corina doesn't find out about this. Now, I want to take a moment and appreciate the parents, Alina and Corina, and Constantinos and Constantina, for raising such exceptional young adults. Your love and guidance have created genuinely kind role models for everyone around them. Now, let's raise our glasses to Pompiliu and Kassiani. Congratulations and Casa de Piatră.
Thank you so much, Ionuț, for those kind words. So, I'd also like to offer up some words for the newlywed couple today. As many of you know, I'm Evangelos. I'm the brother of Kassiani. And once again, I'd like to thank you all on behalf of our families for choosing to celebrate this day with us as we celebrate the marriage of my sister and her husband, Pompiliu. Perfect. Many of you have traveled far to celebrate with us today, and it's greatly appreciated. It makes me so happy to see the joy in my parents' faces and in the faces of Pompiliu's parents who, as Ionuț pointed out, did an exceptional job at raising their children to be spiritual, sensitive, and responsible adults. So in addition to celebrating Pompiliu and Kassiani today, we celebrate all four of you who have ultimately, through God's grace, have made such a perfect union come to fruition in passing down your virtues to them. And all four of you have every right to be proud today. I've known Pompiliu for about 3 years now, which is a relatively short period of time in the grand scheme of things. But it was enough time for me to get to know him well enough. He's clever, faithful, and has a great sense of humor. I always smile or laugh when I interact with him over text. And this includes making a collective effort together to destroy the English language through our weird texts. But maybe I think my favorite memory of us hanging out was when, with great enthusiasm, one night he took me out to one of his favorite restaurants, known as the In-N-Out burger joint. And although, as many of you know, to me nothing will ever top Golden Corral, this beautiful restaurant you have in this country, I nevertheless appreciated the thoughtful gesture, and it was then that he earned my seal of approval. But I've noticed that when Pompiliu is invested in something, that he's invested 100%. And I've seen this especially in his work with the Romanian Orthodox youth of the Americas ecclesiastical and cultural group, and how much care specifically he put Thank you. And how much care he put into running this group during his time as the president there. But more importantly, I understand that he has a strong prayer life. And this is very important. And I know from this that from both of these qualities that he'll be fully invested in the spiritual success of his marriage with Kassiani. So obviously I've known Kassiani for a bit longer than Pompiliu. I even remember going to inspect her at the hospital when she was born. And I think she's funny, lively, and a good listener. But she's also like Pompiliu in the sense that when she's invested in something, it's 100%. And as we're all fully aware, the past couple of years have been difficult for everybody. Kassiani personally faced many obstacles while pursuing her training and education to become a nurse. But instead of becoming discouraged to the point of abandoning her studies altogether, she persevered and continued them, even if this meant taking on a greater financial burden, relocating, and prolonging the duration of her studies. This endurance and vigor go to demonstrate without a doubt that she'll make both a great nurse and a great mother. It's still difficult, though, to believe that my little sister is getting married. And it feels like only yesterday I would come home from university late in the evening for her waiting for me at the door so we could see what would happen in the next episode of Suits, which is running at the time. Or how I would get into like the family car and I could tell that she had been driving the car because the seat had been adjusted in such a way that it felt like a booster seat in the car. Okay. St. John Climacus, in his book, The Ladder of Divine Ascent, when discussing married life, likens spiritual progress to climbing the rungs of a ladder. The husband and wife are called to constantly strive toward perfection, living their lives in the continual climb toward union with God. The ladder is steep, and stumbling on a rung is expected upon ascent. It ultimately cannot be climbed in a single stride, and it requires complete dedication and sacrifice on the part of both the husband and the wife to make it to the top. And one of the most beautiful icons in our church also says something about this aspect of marriage, which is that of the Nuptios icon, or the bridegroom icon. And this icon, it reminds us that we are called to a form of martyrdom in marriage, full of many sacrifices, great and small. And it's through these sacrifices that marriage is perfected and love is purified along this continual climb of the ladder. I have no doubt that both Pompiliu and Kassiani will make it to the top, always being there for each other and making these sacrifices every step of the way. I want to end off now just by reading to the newlywed couple, a reading from a short but beautiful Irish blessing that I came across the other day. And it perfectly summarizes everything I wish for the bride and groom in their new life together. May the Lord smile upon you both in all your comings and goings, and may every day be another chance to grow as one in wisdom, trust, and love. May you always share more blessings than burdens, more laughter than tears, and more strength for what lies ahead than you'll ever need. May your hearts not forget that love lasts when you put faith and family first, and many happy years from now, may you still be walking hand in hand under God's heaven. May your life together be a good one. May God grant you both many years. Nazis. Thank you.
Want to move a little bit more in the front?
In the front? Okay, let's see.
Who's next up?
And now I would like to call my older brother up, George, to also come give some words on the newlywed couple.
Pompiliu, give her back. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You can keep her. She's your problem now. I'm hard pressed to think of anybody more self-sacrificing and hardworking than my younger sister Kassiani. I'm hard pressed to think of anybody who is more willing and able to face any challenge that God puts in her path with determination and complete unwillingness to give up no matter what happens. Whether it involved moving stuff into a new apartment or sussing out new coffee shops wherever we lived, or sending unsolicited pictures of our food to each other to see who's looked cooler. Kassiani has been by my side through thick and thin. Fellow hipster and partner in fashion crime of all kinds. And so it was no real surprise to me when, or to anybody, when she applied her work ethic to the task of winning over the affections of one Pompiliu Gerlonsa, who she had pretty much made up her mind about the second she laid eyes on him. I can finally share proudly that I was accomplice to a long and difficult Cold War to win over Pompiliu through carefully crafted Instagram posts and texts. I remember one in particular we worked long and hard on. It was a picture of Kassiani putting together a puzzle. From picking the dress to picking the lighting to making sure that the amount of wine in the glass was just right. Not suggest too much enthusiasm about alcohol, but still interesting. All in all, I think this relationship is some of my greatest work yet. So you're welcome. I didn't get a chance to spend too much time with Pompiliu in the first year that we knew each other. But I remember the first time that we spent a night together at the monastery in upstate New York, St. Dumitru. And when I found out, I called Kassiani and I said, "Guess who I'm spending the night with?" Spicy. And so we had a lovely evening together and we talked a little bit. And at one point, Pompiliu got a little quiet and he said, "George, can I ask you an awkward question?" I said, "Sure. What's up?" He said, "Your sister Kassiani, is she this friendly with everybody?" said, no, she's not. I think she might be trying to tell you something. So it finally happened. Ground control finally made contact with Major Tom. But since that time, we've been blessed to spend some time together, and it's become increasingly clear to me that his heart is truly one of gold, one of a loyal friend, and someone that I would be blessed and honored to call a brother, and blessed and honored to entrust the life of my baby sister to. I know better than most how willing and able she is to sacrifice herself for people that she loves, and how much she will never hesitate to. And I was thinking the other day, I noticed the last line of the book of the Wisdom of Solomon says, "In all things, Lord, you did not hesitate to glorify and magnify your people. And in all times and in all places, you were standing by them, and you never overlooked them." And reflecting on the many trials and struggles and joys that Kassiani has faced in her journey to this moment, the one thing that I cannot doubt is that in all things, God was leading her by the hand to not just anyone, but to someone who was equally able and willing to give everything of himself for her. And in that knowledge, my heart is overflowing in joy. So I'm grateful that on this day she begins the adventure of her life in earnest with somebody with a similar taste in decor. And that our family is getting a little bit bigger, not just with him, but with 3 lovely sisters, Bilanza sisters. And so I would like to wish Pompiliu and Kassiani, may your years be long and full of light. May you always walk along the path of self-sacrificing love and not hallmark love. And may you see your children's children the way that we read today in the wedding service. May you see your children's children as a vine growing around your table. Naziste, casa de piață. La mulți ani.
Hello. Okay, so a lot of times when I talk to my mom, she says this kind of funny, half joke, half not joke. She'll say that, your sisters raised you, and that's why you maybe turned out a little bit okay. And not to discredit her at all, or my brothers. Sorry. It's partially true. I don't really know that I would be the person that I am today without my 2 sisters, especially Kassiani. Through my own ups and downs, whether through congratulation or consolation or scolding, a lot of scolding, I've been blessed to have someone who both can understand my experiences and can give me the wisdom to navigate them. So before I really had many friends, and before kind of the age gap between my brothers and I closed in, I had my sister. I have some very fond memories of us playing with Lego for hours on end. and coming to this strange kind of mutual agreement that we could play with Barbies and Bionicles in the same sitting, because Maria was always kind of, I don't want to play with girly things, and I was by myself, so we worked it out. And to this day, I have in her a very wise companion and friend, someone with a heart that's just so vast that it seems to kind of swallow you up in this big bear hug and make your worries and hopes her own and just takes them onto herself completely. And I think that it's very fitting that a heart like this would find kinship with the very fine man that we have with us today, Pompiliu. So one of the things that stood out to me about Pompiliu when I first met him was what I can only really describe as a very unassuming simplicity, which doesn't come across very well today with kind of the modern sensibilities that we have. But I think that it really emphasizes all his good qualities all the more, because he doesn't put on any airs. He doesn't magnify himself to other people. He doesn't try to present himself in any special way. But through that, it's just more clear how much he cares about the people and the things around him, and just how genuine he really is. He's very straightforward and practical, things that are very sorely lacking today. He listens to you, whoever you are, with very deep intent and sincerity, and whatever your concern is, he really seeks to empathize and to go through it with you. And I think it's exactly this unassuming nature that kind of didn't at first reveal to me what a great man my sister had actually found. Or it could be that I'm very, very, very oblivious to things sometimes, as I'm often reminded. I remember one of the first interactions I had with him. So really the first time I met him was at this the Roya Romanian Orthodox Youth winter camp in 2019. And as George pointed out, pretty much from the moment Cassie kind of spoke to him there, she was hooked. And I didn't exactly catch on. So we had a bit of unorganized time for us to... Hello! We had a bit of unorganized time to do activities, and he was, working on his puzzle, I think it was. And Cassie slides up to him, and they're working on the puzzle together, and it's great. And I kind of just clump along, and I'm like, "Hey guys, you're doing a puzzle? Cool!" And I just sit there, and I kind of intrude on the moment. Apparently, I had nothing really better to do, so. And it's a little bit cliche, but if looks could kill, I would not be in the room here today. But for all that all the good qualities I can list about him, he has his flaws too. We all do. If you try to text him, you'll get a very thoughtful reply, and then you'll start wondering if he just went to a river and took his phone and just threw it in. So knowing this, it feels a little bit miraculous, kind of, to realize that he and Kassiani had conversations long enough that we could all be here tonight. But it happened. So, yeah, through some very arduous efforts on Kassiani's part, that, as George said, were pretty entertaining to witness. So that's the end of my silly little rambling, but I would just kind of like to close with a very beautiful quote from St. John Chrysostom, the great preacher of the church. And he says that in a good marriage, a man and a woman are like a hand and an eye, because when the eye weeps, the hand is there to wipe away the tears, and when the hand hurts, the eye is there to weep for it. And it's a very beautiful metaphor, but I think it's especially appropriate and really just beautifully manifests in Kassiani and Pompiliu, because they share an understanding and a tenderness for others. They share a deep practicality and responsibility that's really born from the love that they have for the people around them. And in all of these virtues, they have, as St. John says, a very sure support for each other. And ultimately, I think that their hearts are joined together like the pieces of the puzzles that they love completing together. They're meaningful unto themselves, but together they paint a very beautiful and much broader picture that I know I'm not alone in saying I'm very happy to see unfold in the future. So many years to you both, and I feel very blessed to have Pompiliu join our family.
Thank you, Johnny. And now I'd like to invite our sister Maria up to also give some words on the newlywed couple today.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, I am the sister of the bride and the only sister of the bride. I'm definitely not as eloquent as the rest of my family, and especially not as eloquent as my sister, but it's still a great honor to stand up here and say a few words. And I realize that my little brother copied a lot of what I was going to say, but it's okay, because I'm going to say it again. Recycling, okay. So rumor has it that when Cassie was born, I wasn't exactly thrilled about having a younger sibling take my place in the spotlight. Sorry. Thank you. There's an old video of the two of us that my family often laughs at. We were in Arizona in the heat of the desert in the summer, and 2-year-old Cassie picks up a water bottle and says, "Daddy, want water?" And I just walked in and grabbed it from her and walked away drinking the water, and she was chasing me all frustrated. And I just threw the bottle to the ground when I was done. But Cassie just happily picked up the bottle as if nothing had happened, like totally contented and forgiving. And you know what? That forgiving nature has stayed with her throughout her whole life, which is something that defines my sister as a person. So it would take me a really long time to list all of the admirable qualities about Cassie, so I'll just have to mention a few of them. If you're a friend of Cassie, you know that when you share a burden or a problem with her, you can really tell how deeply she cares. And although she can't keep a plant alive if her life depended on it, she's a very compassionate person. Cassie always has a joyful spirit and is very guileless. She's also very focused in whatever she does. And unlike the rest of us, she doesn't procrastinate and always works hard to get good results. Our mom always told us that she wished she'd had a sister growing up. My sister and I have been through and done so much together over the past almost 22 years. Childhood adventures, ups and downs, sharing little moments in our lives, commiserating when the testosterone levels in our house were way too high. And I treasure all of these memories. And so I can say, despite my 3-year-old resistance to a little sister, that I'm immensely grateful I have a little sister and a best friend to grow through life with. And I'm so proud to see you today come together with such a special person as Pompiliu. So the first time I met Pompiliu, although we didn't interact that much, I realized he was a very striking and special person. And in fact, I remember thinking to myself, wow, this guy's really nice. He would be great for my sister. So I was right. I think what people notice most about Pompiliu is that he's always willing to help you when he can, and that when you speak to him, his attention is completely on you. That is, if you can get him to answer your text. Pompiliu is one of those people who can be all things to all people, a serious friend when you need one, someone to laugh at a joke, or anything in between. And like Cassie, he also has a very forgiving nature, which will come in handy as he joins this very crazy Greek family. Cassie and Pompiliu have a lot of similar good traits, but they also complement each other. Pompiliu is very practical and is good at leading, while Cassie has more of the spontaneity and creativity. But most importantly, they both have a lot of faith and prioritize their spiritual growth. So I haven't been married long enough to give you any words of advice from my own personal experience, but I just want to end by sharing this quote from the elder Mirinos of blessed memory from a homily on marriage that he gave. So he says, when two people get married, it's as if they're saying, together we'll go forward, hand in hand, through good times and bad. We will have dark hours, hours of sorrow filled with burdens, monotonous hours. But in the depths of the night, we continue to believe in the sun and the light. Oh, my dear friends, who can say that his life has not been marked by difficult moments? But it is no small thing to know that in your difficult moments, in your worries, in your temptations, you will be holding in your hand the hand of your beloved. So as long as you remember these words and that you always have each other and keep Christ in front of you as your guide, I know you'll be able to handle all the difficulties of life together and create a beautiful marriage. So once again, I want to congratulate my sister and my new brother. So may you have many blessed years together. Hooray!
Thank you, Maria. That was a very nice speech. We have two more speeches. I would just like to call for your complete attention. I just hear a bit of talking. I know it's been a long day. I know it's been a long church service, but let's remember that we're here to give Pompiliu and Kassiani the attention they deserve through honoring them. Okay. Now I would like to call up my father to give his speech and to essentially say a few words for the newlywed couple. One second. Quiet, please.
Thank you.
1 second.
It's okay, boy. It's okay, I can handle a very loud crowd. Okay, good evening, everybody. Dear Reverend Fathers, dear family members, dear friends and guests, thank you for being here tonight with us. I'm not very eloquent as my children or as my wife, so I will try to be very brief and just express a few feelings and thanks. So my wife, Tina, I would like first of all to sincerely thank everybody for being here to honor us with your presence on this special day, to share with us in this blessed and joyous event the wedding of our beloved daughter Kassiani and our new beloved son Pompiliu. Today it is very emotional for me to say a few words, as it was not long time ago, actually 8 months ago, during the wedding of our other daughter Maria. And really I never thought that we'll be marrying off both our daughters within the same year. But again, I keep reminding myself that God has his own plan for our salvation and that we just need to play ball, spiritual ball. As my son Evan said earlier today, the last 2 years were difficult in Canada because of all these lockdowns and restrictions in our lives, especially our spiritual practices, worship practices. But nevertheless, with the protection of the Mother of God, our Panagia, we endured this hardship, and we have the blessing of celebrating not one but two marriages. So we're thankful to God that has brought us all here today. We're grateful for his blessings, and of course for blessing us with a very beautiful daughter, Kassiani, who over the years has brought much joy into our lives. And we're grateful for sending such a pious and respectful young man, Pompiliu, to be the husband of our baby Kassiani. I'm not going to repeat things that others said, but beloved children, as you embark on this journey in the sea of life, you have many challenges, but also you have many blessings. As parents, we're going to be here to help you and to pray for you to the extent possible. However, you know better than me that your strength will be your faith in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and in the intercessions of His Holy Mother, our Panagia. May you always be guarded and guided by angels through the prayers of your spiritual father. Dear Pompiliu, as we welcome you in our family, I will say to you what I told Edward a long time ago. God will always protect you as long as you stay close to the church and believe in Him. And as we read in the Gospel of Apostle Mark, chapter 9, verse 23, Πάντα δυνατά το πιστεύοντι. And for those that don't understand ancient Greek, this means all things are possible to him who believes. So before I stop, I just want to convey some wishes from many relatives from Greece. My mother, my sister, her family, who unfortunately could not be here today. I would like to thank my beloved spiritual father, Papa Dimitri, who traveled from Texas to participate in this blessed event. Papa Dimitri baptized Kassiani not long ago. Actually, it was almost yesterday, feels like yesterday. And he was the one to guide her firmly in her first spiritual steps. Papa, I will always be indebted to you for our love and prayers for our family. And I pray that God gives you many more years. Also, I would like to thank Kassiani's beloved godparents, Dimitri and Dimitra, who also traveled from Canada to be with us. And again, we thank you and we love you. And also, I would like to thank the newly added extended family of ours, Marius and Claudia, the parents of Edward, our other beloved son, who traveled from Canada to be with us. Thank you very much. Finally, I would like to thank Father Theodore and Presbytera Corina and the whole family. Thank you for your hospitality, but most importantly, thank you for embracing and welcoming Kassiani to your family. And we look forward to celebrating more joyful events with you. Thank you all, and na ζήσετε. Okay?
Thank you. So now finally, to end off with the speeches, I do want to read a letter that was, thank you for your attention. I want to read you all a letter that was sent by His Eminence Metropolitan Nicholas of the Romanian Orthodox Archdiocese of the Americas, in honor of Pompiliu and Kassiani. Dear Pompiliu and Kassiani, at this important moment of your Christian life, I would like to express my congratulations and best wishes to you and your families. Today you begin a new life, a life as husband and wife, as family, bonded through the sacred union of Christian marriage. I wish you to count on Christ to preserve your love and to remember this ceremony in any moment of your life in joy and, more importantly, in sorrows. I wish you happiness and protection. I wish you to keep your hands together for the rest of your life, not only on earth, but also in heaven, along with your children and family. Many and blessed years, His Eminence Metropolitan Nicholas. And he also sent along a gift for the newlywed couple, the Virgin and Son, and there you go. Thank you.